Hi Marcy, this is Jackie, the Library Director here at Blue Mountain Community College, and I'm responding to your email asking about peer-reviewed articles and for your topic about wind turbines and wind power. From your email, I'm guessing that you had managed to get into the library website. In case you haven't, it's just bluecc.edu and then academics and library, or simply by clicking here from the college's main website, library. And from here, I'm thinking you've done this, you would then click on library databases. And in general, I usually take people to our top library databases. Your topic on wind turbines, depending on how you're looking at it. I mean, you can be looking at it from a business point of view, from a more economics point of view, from a science point of view. As you probably discovered, there's a lot of different ways to look at that topic. So our top databases generally will help you look at that from any of those lenses. If you start getting a little bit more specific, we do have some specific science databases. We do have some specific business databases that I can walk you through, but this should be good enough. So you said you needed peer review resources, and in the email I sent you a couple attachments that were developed by Lane Community College, which are, I think, really good. I used to work there about designing that explain the difference between scholarly and popular sources. So popular being like Time, Newsweek, those type of magazines you'd see, I call it the grocery store, versus scholarly magazines and articles that you usually would access mostly through an online library database these days, or in much bigger libraries you can still find them in print. But most people go online to our databases to access them electronically. So I'm assuming you need peer review resources for this assignment. I sometimes ask that because there's usually are more advanced classes that require peer reviewed. I think they're really good to become familiar with and use, but they're often not required until you're in either an advanced writing class or some of our other advanced classes. So I just like putting that out there, because if you happen to find a good article in Time magazine and you're not required to use all peer-reviewed resources, you might want to use that in your paper. You might not want to close the door on that if you don't have to. But anyways, to access peer-reviewed, you'll probably use one of our, as you can see up here, advanced databases. And you may have already discovered this, but we'll just walk through it like you were sitting here in my office. So for your search, you're specifically doing wind turbines. Of course, you can and this right here, so pretty easy. If you already had some other ideas of how you wanted to narrow this down, you could certainly do that. So if you really wanted to look at specifically wind turbines and environmental impacts, or as a renewable energy source, or as a way of investing in rural economies, there again, so many ways you could look at this topic. You could add that at this point, but we'll start here. So when you're in the Gale databases, what happens is that they prioritize the search by different types. So you can see academic journals, those tend to be scholarly and peer-reviewed, but not always, and magazines, books, newspapers, etc., etc. So a couple things you can do here. So within the academic journals, these are sorted, there's a little over 2,000. They're sorted by relevance, which means the words wind turbine are going to come up with greatest frequency the higher up they are, as opposed to being sorted by date, which is newest first, which you can certainly do, newest or oldest. So a couple things you can do is with our databases, pay attention to the right or left-hand side of the screen for your filtering options. If you already know over 2,000 is too many, and that's it would be fair to say, you could search within results. So if you already know you want to search limit by, I don't know, economic development, you could search within results here, and that will find all the articles that include wind turbine and economic development in the results. As you can see right here, you can click limit to peer reviewed right away, and just clicking there, we've cut out about a little over 400 results. And finally, you can limit even further, so by date range. So this is a fairly new topic. It's science, anything with science and business, you probably want to stick to the last few years. I'm just going to say July 1st, 2012, just to pick a date. And we'll go ahead to August here. And today, why not? Hit search. So we've cut that down even further, not quite by half, by finding things in the last 5 years. That isn't necessary, but if you are using older material, just use it wisely. Just say for contrast or to give historical background to this topic for your reader. That, especially for this topic, you'll just want to use that as an important point. And going down our list, so we've already done a couple limits here. We limited by, full text, peer-reviewed. We limited by date. I mentioned you could limit by searching in within results. You can also use these subject headings. And so one thing you can do with these subject headings, it can be really helpful to look specifically at specific details within here, like specifically wind turbines, throwing out maybe some things that overlap. If you really wanted to focus in specifically on, the renewable energy aspect, you could do that. Or again, equipment performance. Again, so many ways this can go. But makes it really helpful. And that number beside it, so if we were focusing, say, on, I don't know, green technology, that would limit that to 25 articles that match wind turbines and green technology. So really helpful. Remote sensing, I think I saw that. That's kind of cool. It's a big topic these days. And then finally, the last little feature I want to show you is this topic finder on the right-hand side before we get into looking at peer-reviewed. And this is coming up with a tile view. I actually don't like this as much. I like the wheel view because what's kind of cool here is, so it's holding on to our main search of wind turbine with our limits here. But this is where you could focus in on if you really wanted to focus on, I don't know, aerodynamics, and then, I don't know, energy resources. You would click here and it would find the 8 articles that match that topic. Pretty cool. Or if you wanted to look at, their, I don't know, you could look at this from so many different points of view, as we've mentioned. Wind speed, kind of a huge thing. You're now down to those 10. So that's pretty fun. And you can search, right within here, just click on any of these to get to the article. If you want to reduce further your search, you can just add or change your search right here. So it's kind of cool. I'm going to go back. Click the back arrow, and we're back to where we were. And so I'm going to walk you through kind of what you would see. Let's find, I don't know, these might all be interesting to you. Let me see an article that jumps out at me. Ooh, health effects. Oh, okay, I'm interested in health, I will admit it. So I'm going to go ahead and click on one that's terrible. You might be interested in something much more completely different. So, we have limited by peer review, which is fairly reliable, but let's take a look and see what we're looking at here. We're looking at a couple things. One is that also within here, I hope you do know, but I will point out, you do have the opportunity to email these to yourself, to download the PDF and save it to a flash drive, email it to yourself, certainly. These great citation tools, if you're in one of our English classes, you'll use MLA, English or Writing. With the exception of Writing 227, which you might be in, and that uses APA. A lot of our science classes and social science classes use APA. The humanities tend to use MLA. So we'll close that out of here. And so kind of what we're looking for is, what we can kind of guess is looking here, so this is maybe not the best example. Quite often what you'll see is these authors, oh wait, there are some numbers next to them. Usually they're going to have some credentials attached to their name. It might say immediately PhD, MD, a doctorate in something, something that, demonstrates that they're a scholar in this area. This link here might actually link us to that. No, it just links us to the articles he's written. But that's very helpful because you can get a sense of, has this person written a lot on this topic? Do they have this body of knowledge that they have put out there? So that's one thing to look at. Scrolling down, there's that 1, 2, 3. So let's go ahead and do that. Don't want to make you dizzy. You should, that might feel further because it's 1, 2, 3, sorry. I jumped ahead too far. You might see a little bit more on, again, where they've studied and where the authors are from. So let's see. Okay, this isn't, so that's the best example, but usually you should be able to find out information about the author. So compared to Time magazine, where again, there might not be an author, it might be just a journalist. We should be able to type this guy's name into Google and see what institution he's affiliated with, where he was, maybe his funding came from. Anyway, so you are going to, but what we did see when I scrolled down to the bottom of the page was they had 100 references. So, and they look like, in my quick scan, and it was quick, they look like very diverse references. You know, somebody can have 100 references, but if they're just from a handful of sources, they haven't done a broad study of the literature where these guys have. So that's one thing you're looking for. You're usually looking into a complete introduction or an abstract. You're looking for methods, especially in a scientific paper. What are the methods that they did or used to follow through? How did they perform their test? What were their testing? Because somebody who's reviewing this, another member of the scientific community for peer-reviewed, they're going to look at their methodology and say, is this sound? Is it valuable? Is it contributing to new knowledge? Will this produce accurate, credible, valid data? And they are clear with their results. So things like that. So that's kind of what you're looking for. And then they break it down further. Apparently there's tables and such. So again, the peer review link really works, but if you look at those handouts I sent you, that's really some of the things that you're looking for. Really look at some things like the purpose of the paper, who wrote it, what and why, you know, were they funded by any other agency, by what, do they have a sound methodology, you know, and look for some of those other clues. Really, if you only ask 3 questions, ask who wrote it, what was their purpose and intent for a reader. Were they trying to persuade? Were they trying to, you know, probably always somebody's trying to persuade you of something, but were they trying to, did they do it with what looks like sound evidence and data that's backed up by their own work and a myriad of resources? So if that makes sense. Sustainable one. Let's see if this one's a little bit more, yeah, abstract, full text. Yeah, a little bit more common. Here's the introduction. Here's some of the keywords they used. Yeah, so those are kind of the clues that you're looking for. So anyway, I hope that's helpful. And let me show you the other database you may have used. Sorry, running back to our databases. Top library databases is EBSCO. And this is very small. Not sure why that's so small. There we go. I'm just going to do a quick search on wind turbines. Again, you can limit right away to scholarly. I don't always do that. You can always do that on the second page. But remember when I said look to the right or left? Well, in EBSCO, you'll want to look on the left-hand side for your limiters. It's a different interface, but similar functions. To customize your date, they have this cool little slide thing, which I really like. See, we're down to a little under 1,000. And you can limit it even further if you'd like. If you want to limit, you know, again, by that subject idea, you can certainly do that. So if you really wanted to limit specifically to like that wind speed concept, how important is that? That limits you down to just 52 articles. And if you ever want to take it out, let's just right here, you exit out. Start all over again, you're back to your 999. You can always change your search up here and saying, nope, I want a little bit more. I want environmental impacts. I want something like that. You can always add that right here and just, you know, make sure all the boxes you want are checked. So yeah, really helpful. You can show more as well, which I think is incredibly helpful. You know, all these details that limit you. And again, if turbulence is, you know, of interest in this work, you know, you can limit it to those, and you're down to 22. So, and hit update, and you're there. So, I hope that makes sense. Again, you'll look at the same thing. You'll open up a paper in EBSCO. Quite often, you do have to again look to the left to see if it's in PDF or HTML. It should be. These should all be full text, and that's how you'll get the full article. But this gives you that abstract, that summary, which can be helpful to read. Because you can get a sense, do I really want to look at this, spend more time with it? Well, the abstract might give you the information you know. Again, it looks like you can add it directly to a Google Drive if you have it. You can print it, email it, save it. Same cool citation function. If you're using APA, it's right there. You'll just scroll down to MLA if you'd like to do that. So, and copy and paste it. So anyway, like I said, I hope that helps. And call me if you need me.